I manage over $100 million in my day job, but what would I do if I had to start again with just $100? If you're new to investing, this video is going to show you exactly where to begin. No fluff, no hype, just what works. This isn't going to be some general advice like buy crypto or download an app and pray for the best. I'll give you the real strategy that I've used and the mistakes to avoid. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to do with your first $100 and how to turn that into a habit that builds real wealth. If you're new here, my name's Jayan and I'm a FTSE Top 5 finance manager. Before we start talking about what to buy, here's something that most people miss. Your goal here with $100 isn't to get rich. It's just not going to happen with $100. The goal is to build a habit that will eventually allow you to build real wealth. Think of it like going to the gym. You don't turn up to lift the heaviest weight on day one. You show up day after day, and after years, you end up with a body that most people question if it's even possible to achieve. And investing is exactly the same. I see people that are trying to turn $100 to $10,000 overnight, or over a week, or over a month. It just isn't gonna happen. They're chasing random moonshots, they're chasing crypto, they're chasing random stock tips from their friend. They just want to get rich quick, but unfortunately, there is no get rich quick in life, especially with investing. You might hear about the one person that does it out of 100,000 people, and maybe that's true for them, but for most people, it just is never gonna work. And I get it, it's exciting, the concept of getting rich quick, but most people will just lose their money and never come back to investing, and never get to the real gains of investing, where you actually build real wealth. If you can just not lose that $100 and turn it into the habit of investing, you're already ahead of 90% of people. So now that we've got that out of the way, your mindset should be set. We're not chasing crazy gains, we're doing stuff that's sustainable and it's gonna really build us wealth. So what do we actually do? Investing is about long term. And to be honest, after you put away this first $100, and it could be $100, 100 euros, 100 pounds, whatever currency you have, you need to be able to not touch it for a few years, or at least go in with that intention. It was Einstein that said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And you can only discover it if you actually put your money away and leave it alone for years and years and years. Now it goes without saying, high risk, high reward, but another massive mistake that people make is going for really high risk for really low reward. Something as an example of something low risk would probably be an index fund like the S&P 500 that I'm sure you've heard about. It's a collection of the 500 biggest companies in the US, and they're all bundled together into one tracker. So you eliminate all of the risk of, say, one company just going bust. And on the opposite side, you've got something like crypto, which is highly volatile and very high risk. Because of it, a lot of people completely lose their money. If you invest in Bitcoin, maybe less likely, but there's these altcoins out there where a lot of people are chasing massive returns. They put their money in and it goes completely bust overnight. The whole point here is that we're building a habit. And so this first $100 that you invest will start that habit and it'll spur you on to the next amount. And over time, consistency is always better than luck over the long term. A mistake that a lot of people think is that they need to beat the market. You don't need to beat the market. You don't need to copy other people. You don't need to constantly be worried about all of your investments. You just need to know what the risk is in the things that you invest in, and you will discover your own risk tolerance over time. And that's just the amount of risk that you're comfortable with taking. If you're younger, your risk tolerance is probably going to be quite high. You invest $1,000 and maybe it goes down by 90%, you got 100 left, but you've invested for the long term, and maybe in 10 years time, that $1,000 turns into 100,000. Whereas your risk tolerance is probably a lot lower if you're a lot more financially constrained, you're a bit older, and you don't need to be chasing massive amounts of money. So far, we've gone through three main things here. We've gone through your mindset about investing, the time horizon, and the risk that you're willing to take. These are the main things I think you should consider when investing in anything, really. So let's move straight on to how I would invest your first $100. We don't need to overcomplicate it here. $100 is a relatively small amount of money. It's enough for you to have some skin in the game. But if you were to lose it all, it wouldn't be the end of the world, and hopefully you're never going to lose it all. The whole point is that you're gonna invest this money and then start to understand a little bit more about investment and maybe go on to the next step. You just need to take this first step as fast as you possibly can. And at this point, there's no real wrong choices. You just need to make a choice. And to do that, the first thing you need to do is pick a platform to invest on. Personally, I use apps, and the main app that I use is Trading 212. I've also used Freetrade, which is a really good app, and at the moment, right now, I'd recommend that because if you deposit at least £50 right now, you get a free share. But just pick a platform that you like the look of. For me, Trading 212, Freetrade are both good options, but there's loads out there. And it's as simple as you connect your bank account and deposit the money. And then we're in the position to pick what you're gonna invest in. For this first one, if you're feeling really uncomfortable, I'd suggest go with something that you know already. Something that is relatively low risk. Maybe it's the company that you work for. For me, for example, I invest in Relics because I know the company. I also go to some of the investor presentations that they have, and I really feel comfortable about it. For me, in my portfolio, it's a relatively low risk investment, and it is one of the best investments that you could have made in the FTSE 100. Another thing you can invest in is maybe a company that produces products that you love, and that's a really big company. Smaller companies face a lot more risk. However, if you go for a bigger company, say Nike or Apple, you face a lot less risk because of the size of the corporation and their maturity. And fun fact for you, when I started investing years ago, I put £100 into Apple. That was my first ever investment, and I held it for years. And that was the beginning of my entire investing journey. Without that single point of just pulling the trigger and investing, the rest would never have happened. If you're somebody that doesn't like to research and know things a lot, and you're more emotional about the way that you think you're gonna invest, then this is, I think, a good way to do it. It'll get a bit of skin in the game and it'll really start the snowball. If, however, you're somebody that's a bit more anxious and likes to do a lot more research and really know what they're doing, then right now, what I'd suggest is pick a few things. Maybe pick a top 3 of things that you'd like to invest in. Maybe some things that you've heard. Maybe Tesla's going crazy, Nvidia, and you want to get on some of that hype. Maybe it is something like the company that you work for, or maybe it is just a product that you like. Go into ChatGPT and ask it to analyze the stock as an investment for you. Look at what it says, talk to it a little bit about risk, and then make a decision. But don't spend too long doing this. Ask now, straight after this video, and make the decision either today or tomorrow. Do not leave it any longer than that, because otherwise you're never gonna do it. And it really is as simple as that. After you've done that, you have started your investing journey. Now, if you feel ready to invest, please go ahead and do it, and leave a comment in the comment section about what you have chosen to invest in. I really hope this is the start of a really long and prosperous investing journey for you. Hit the subscribe button for more authentic and to the point advice with no fluff. If you're at all interested about how I manage my own finances as a FTSE 5 finance manager, then click this video right here.